awesome. And then we're like,
today,
if you want to see yourself,
special guest
check your positions.
Can't really tell.
say your name, your major, basically always.
Hi guys. Okay.
Hey everyone.
Wait,
Hello.
who are
Oh,
you?
I'm close.
No.
One by one. Hi guys.
Oh, hey guys.
Back it up.
Dang, that's crazy.
Back it up. Back it up.
Okay.
It's
You're
so
starting,
fun.
Cynthia.
No.
I thought. Laurice started. Okay. Should we put a timer question mark?
I think we need. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Also,
we
someone
need
else's
episodes for
if
that.
any of your computers have it, like you might have to upload it because this is taking a long time.
What do you mean?
Because like I can't take the SD card out until it's like uploaded, but like this is like
Taking out. Okay.
yeah.
So then the other one would be on another computer. Then?
Okay. Let's
Okay,
do.
This would be a short.
Yeah.
A little long distance.
We can talk
me
about
sh-
like
give it
how
to her
you
and
met
she'll
tell
them.
Want me to like tell you when like
Oh yes.
okay.
Okay. We're ready.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Hey,
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
Stop.
it.
You're done
All
now.
right. Sorry. Hello, M&Ms. Welcome to another episode of the Melanin Memoirs podcast. I am your host, Laurice.
I'm your other host, Cynthia.
And I'm your third host, Chisom.
And today we have a special guest with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is ALEXAAA Uribe.
Literally favorite person.
I'm a sophomore. I'm a neuro major, hopefully. Yeah,
You like
and
that.
relation-wise, so Cynthia's my sweet mate.
Yay.
Laurice and Chisom, we've all been besties since last year, so that's so slay, keeping it strong.
Yes,
And I'm just happy to be here to support Melanin Memoirs.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
As you should, as you should.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about long distance relationships. I know we talked about relationships in another episode, but this time we're going to be more specific and talk about long distance relationships because we know sometimes distance can be something that makes or break a relationship. So how's your
For
experience
sure.
been with that?
Yeah, so
First tell us about the story.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what she was gonna
Give us
do.
all the tea.
I mean, hey, you never know.
I got you. So I have been with my long distance boyfriend for 4.5 years.
Woo!
Wait.
Shout out.
Why did I think it was 5?
4.5. It's almost
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
Practically.
Our anniversary
4.5 is
in-
practically 8 years, babes.
No, she has to double it.
No, I had to double it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we met our freshman year of high school, except he remembered me before I remembered him. So we had this like thing in the summer where it was called Freshman Connection, and you got to meet the other freshmen before going into high school. And he had that like, or at least he tells me that movie kind of, oh, I saw her walking across the field. And I was just there
I'm
holding a
dying.
football, like, hey, do you want to hold this? Like, can I throw this at you? Trying to make friends. And then he would say that he would see me around class, and he's like, oh my gosh, we're in the same classes, in the same PE. And then I got to talk to him more, and it wasn't until the spring. So, like, it took a while, but it wasn't until the spring of
That's a
our
good build-up, though.
of our freshman year that we actually got closer, and now we're together. So, yeah, it's been going strong since June 6th. Let's go.
Yeah.
We got the
Let's
date
go.
unlocked.
And yeah, and we're still going very strong. So long distance has gotten hard because you're not in the same place at the end of the day, and it's a matter of like, hey, when can you call? When can you FaceTime? When can you text? And midterm season, horrible.
Not happening.
No,
At Hawkins?
I feel that right there.
horrible, especially like him too. So I'm more of the STEMmy brain, and he's like the humanities brain. So it's like, oh, readings or exams or orgo. So yeah, it's
Side
been,
eye.
it's been hard, but it's been good. But I know like Laurice is pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, mine is more of like a mid-distance relationship. And he's in Baltimore, I'm in DC, normally during the summer. And that summertime was definitely difficult. Like, barely
sure.
being able to see him. Like, we'd go on dates here and there over the summer, but, like, it wouldn't be the same, like, as it was on campus. Because he's in Baltimore, I'm in Baltimore. Now we can like see each other like every weekend. We keep it on the weekends because you know during the weekdays gotta focus, gotta get myself together, and it's kind of like a motivation as well to really like get my stuff together, get my stuff done, so that like whenever he's over, like I'm not worried about, oh, this assignment is due, or oh, I didn't study for this. So it's like more of a motivation. But I want to ask, like, how has what are some things that you guys have done to like keep the relationship going? Because I know distance is definitely something that breaks people's relationships.
Yeah, it's really hard. Freshman year was the hardest, at least for Hopkins, because I was not the best communicator. I will admit that. And because for Hopkins, we started a week before him, so he goes to Yale. He's in Connecticut.
Oh.
And
Okay, you gonna say yeah?
sorry.
Shout out. Okay.
Shout out. Hello. No, but because we started earlier, I was trying to get a grasp of like how are my classes, how do I study? Whoa, first week of college, I don't know what I'm doing.
Literally.
And because of that, it was hard to kind of communicate when I was even available because I didn't even know what my schedule was like. And then for him, it was similar. So it was just the fact that like we needed to communicate when we were busy, when we weren't busy, when we were stressed, because being farther apart, especially when you're stressed, you don't want to carry that energy through like a text message and then be like, OMG, like I'm stressed, and then just have that negative energy.
Yeah, you gotta be mindful of that.
Yeah, because midterm season, and it's not their fault at the end of the day. They don't know what's going on if you don't say what's going on. And that's been the biggest thing, because Chem freshman year, Chem was crazy.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Gonna be me when to talk about that one.
No, but it's been like a lot of communication, or if we felt that one of us was distant, just stating like, hey, how can we fix this? Like, what do we do? Or having set times where we can call, so it would usually be over the weekend, or like a certain time on Wednesdays or Thursdays. And then with this year, it's pretty similar. It hasn't really changed, but because we do get busier, it's just like, oh, hey, I'm at the gym, or I'm doing homework, or I'm in class, or just messages.
I feel like that's a good way to like go about things, just because like I don't know, someone was saying this, but in relationships, you guys like they tend to be dependent on each other. It's like you know what I mean. It's like but I feel like once it's long distance, it's like
It's a lot
they're-
harder.
it becomes like you're independent of yourself, so it's hard to depend on someone else. You know what I mean? So by the time like I feel like that's why a lot of long distance don't work in my opinion, because it's like by the time you're independent of yourself and you feel like you don't need someone to depend on, it's like, especially if it's so long distance, it's like so much hassle, I think. But in like different cases like yours, obviously, you guys still depend on each other. It's like, okay, you're feeling stressed, like, okay, let me let him know. So like, how can he help?
That's
And
your
how can
person
we help
to
each
let
other?
them know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So communication, that's always ties in. So it's like just communicating how you're feeling, so like you guys can equally depend on each other.
And then also having trust in that other person. 'Cause
Yes.
there's always
Yeah.
uncertainty, like, okay, yeah, you're on a new campus. There's going to be
New
girls there. There's
people.
going to be,
Other
you know,
people.
a whole bunch of
Yeah.
other people. They're going to develop their own friendships. And you never know, like, who they'll meet and stuff like that. So, like, just trusting your partner and knowing that, yeah, you guys are both on the same page and you guys are both
Right.
serious about each other.
I think
helps a
it's
lot.
been super beneficial as well that like you have an objective perspective, especially when you're stressed, because they don't, or at least he doesn't know the Hopkins life and the Hopkins core. So even if I'm talking or I'm stressed, it's just kind of like, I'm here for you. Like I may not know what's going on, but I know what you're telling me, and like just let it out, and vice versa, because I don't know what life is like over there. He may not know, even though we visit each other sometimes. But it's having that trust too, like Laurice said. And you know, it's scary. There's a lot of people, you don't know any of them. Even if you do meet them, you're not actively there every day, so you don't really see what's going on.
Right.
And it's just a matter of what they tell you that you know, and just building that, like, okay, I trust what you're telling me, you know. If it works, it works, and it's been working.
Yeah.
So it's life.
I don't have no experience with all this. But like, what I hear,
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay. From what I hear, it's like you have to give your partner a lot of grace, because like for all of us, this is our first time going through college. Like freshman year, it's like a big transition. You're like away from your family, and like you're taking care of yourself, like actually, like for real. You're taking like these different classes from high school, and like you have to like be in a whole other mindset. So like both of you going through this like time in your lives, they're like That's what I was thinking. Like, isn't it
It's a lot
harder?
of-
Like,
it is harder for
It is-
sure.
it is
Like freshman year, I feel like since this was like my first real relationship, I feel like once I got on campus, like you were talking about like dependency, I felt like I depended on him a lot. Like I always wanted to be around him. I always wanted to talk to him on the phone. And sometimes I feel like I was neglecting the responsibilities I had to do like in school wise. But like at a certain point, after like I got used to like being around him so much, I'm just like, okay, we need to set up a plan, a schedule. Like, okay, I'm gonna meet you this day, and I'm just gonna focus, like grind on these days. So I feel like that's been helping me. But it definitely does make it a lot harder because you know you just want to see your man, you know. Literally, that's it. But it's like you have to remember like you're doing this for your future. And since you see them in your future as well, you're doing it for both of your futures. So you just have to be goal-oriented.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have like a lot of experience in this area, but I feel like a lot of other people do, so it's good that we're talking about it either way. But like the main thing I was gonna say was, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like in relationships there are hurdles, and I feel like long distance is one of like the huge ones. Like I feel like if you're in a relationship and you can get through long distance, you're set. Because I like based off what you guys are saying, I just can't imagine like being in a relationship with someone but like being so far away from them. Do you know what I mean? It's like I moved here and I have a lot of I don't know, but I really don't know. But I grew up with a bunch of people, obviously, like my childhood friends. But I feel like compared to how close we were when we were like in the same continents, like moving to a different continent, that
is different.
like it dissipates. Like best friends just like falls apart. Do you know what I mean?
It's
true. It's actually so sad. Exactly. So just the fact that like you can do that.
Right.
Kudos to you.
Were there like any issues that you guys didn't anticipate that like came up? And it's like, oh, I didn't think this is gonna be like a problem or something.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Very good question. I have to think on that. Like,
sounds like nothing. It sounds like nothing big. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like you guys were prepared, like mindset wise.
Yeah, I honestly think for me it was more internal because I know from what we mentioned before, I was used to seeing him every day, like in the summer or every day at school, and the fact that we were physically separated was really hard for me because I talked to him all the time. I became emotionally dependent just as like your person. And because there were times where maybe he was so busy and I couldn't talk to him, sometimes felt a little suffocating because it's like, oh my gosh, I can't vent, what do I do? But then it's those learning curves where there's gonna be those days where they just can't talk, like they're just busy and vice versa. And it doesn't mean that they don't want to talk to you or, you know, they're just not interested, but it's just not a good time, like at that moment.
Just
and
learning that.
Yeah, and then that's why communication is so important as well because like let's say he was so stressed and like I didn't know because I was so busy, but I still want him to tell me like that happened just so that I'm aware and it doesn't feel like I'm neglecting. And I know Laurice mentioned that earlier as well. And I think it was really more the internal part than like other people being involved or like something like an external worry, but just knowing like, hey, when is it okay to talk or when can we? And then knowing that like it is hard to be physically separated, but we're doing it for ourselves. And like it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I wish he was here next to me. Although sometimes it is, but it's nice being in different places too because we share our experiences. So he gets to know some things, I get to know some things.
I feel like I just had to learn that it's okay to like not be in constant contact with each other. Because it's like, of course, I want to be around him like a lot, but like at the same time, you don't have to talk to each other every single
24/7
second of the day. Like I had to learn that for sure. Like on FaceTimes, I'm just the type of person where like if I'm on FaceTime, I'm gonna be talking to you. Like, but him, he's just one of those guys who wants to enjoy the presence of the person they're on the phone with. And I wasn't used to that. I guess that would be like an issue that I found. I had to learn to be okay with silence, I guess. Like whenever like I'm in somebody's presence, I'm expecting to like, talk to people. Like I don't like awkward silence. I guess it wasn't really awkward silence because like we're just doing our own thing, being in each other's presence, and I've learned to like enjoy that. For sure.
I love doing that. I love just calling my friends and be like, I just need company. Like, I need to get my work
That's
done.
so cute. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
what I need. I'm sorry. If we're on the phone, I feel like we don't need to be talking, but like just going really long periods without talking is kind of like, oh, why am I on the phone? I could really just be doing that.
It's like quality time.
Right. If I wanted to be alone, I would do that.
That's so true. When I was coming, it was like winter break, coming back on campus, like spring semester. I went out for dinner with my dad, and this is like the first time he ever talked to me about relationships and stuff. And yeah, and he was like, yeah, the parents, like because their relationship with your parents, it's so cute. Your mom, so cute. But my dad was like, don't mess with anyone, blah, blah, blah. Don't talk to anyone. You know you're from California. It's not going to work. I was like, wow. I was like, I guess you're right. Like, literally, most people here from the East Coast, so I'm just like, oh. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I have to.
Speaking of the parents, I feel like when he first met my mom, I was so scared. I was just like, oh my, because like she knew about him. Because like once I got in a relationship, one thing my mom told me was to make sure you let me know if you're gonna get in a relationship, because she doesn't want me to hide things.
Yeah.
And I can't lie, guys. I cannot lie.
Me too. I can't lie to my mom.
So if I'm like doing something, I have to let her know, because then I have to have the peace of mind. Because I just don't have the energy to lie, guys. I just can't.
It's too much.
Yeah. So like I told her, she knew about him. And then when they finally met, I feel like it was really good. She liked him, and I was just like, okay, that makes you very happy. Like when your parents like actually like your partner.
Yeah.
Because then that makes things 10 times easier. Because I don't know what I would do if she did not like him.
That's literally what it is. My mom calls my boyfriend like her second child.
Oh, that is so cute.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like that's so cool. But
so
it was similar. Like for him, he asked my mom if he could take me on a date. So he like asked me for my mom.
They're my parents. They're literally my parents. Like
he had like told me like a couple of days into dating, like, hey, can I have your mom's number? And I was like, oh yeah, like sure. And he didn't tell me that, but my mom had told me. And I was like, hey, he texted me like a paragraph this morning. And I was like, oh, about what? I was confused. And she was like, yeah, I think he wants to like take you to a restaurant, but he wanted permission, so I'm giving him permission.
Take notes. Take notes.
Take notes.
And I was like, oh, like, okay. But I think just having that initiation to be like, you know what, I want to gain approval first and like respect, because that is your daughter, like that spoke to me a lot. Because it's like, oh, it's not just beating around the bush, oh, I don't want to meet your parents kind of thing. So my mom has loved him ever since. And
that's a really good person.
Yeah, they're really besties. Even nowadays, she'll call me and be like, how is he? Or put him on FaceTime. And then we have joint calls. And she's like, oh my gosh,
that's so cute. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to have in the future.
Yeah, and it definitely goes with time too. Like it wasn't like that always, but I think once you gain like that respect and that trust and knowing like, hey, like you care for my daughter, that's all I care about. Just make her happy. And she's told me that so many times. So it helps so much when like they're really close. And like I respect that so much. It's so sweet.
I'm coming to the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, send the invites.
We got you guys.
Sure. Is there anything else?
Well, this was cute.
Yeah, this was a cute little segment.
Short.
A little wholesome
We love a
moment.
short segment.
Something short and simple.
Well, that wraps us. Okay, one more time. Well, that wraps us. Hold on.
You got this.
Well, that wraps up our conversation on long distance relationships. Look forward to more episodes.